Hi guys, Aaron here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to show you a bike that I've been tinkering with most recently, and this is actually my mother's bike. So it's a disc brake endurance style road bike. It's a KTM branded frame, although I would suspect it's an open mold design based on a couple of features. What is notable, however, this is a 2015 frame, and it's extremely advanced for that date, basically, because despite being 3 years old, it boasts all the new standards that are just becoming popular on mainstream bikes. So yeah, the bike industry is a bit weird in that. So for example, it has flat mount brake mounting, front and rear, before even flat mount was a thing. So it has post mount brakes with some adapters. It's a 1x specific frame, so no brace on. It has massive tire clearance, we'll get to that later on. Internal seat clamp. So all the features of the brand new frames coming out today, despite being 3 years old. Now, since this is a factory build, it came with Ultegra Di2 full group set with the RS785 levers, the oldest style as well, and some DT Swiss aluminum wheels which I replaced. So I wanted to solve a couple of issues with this bike, and here's what I've done. So starting with the wheels, this is the biggest upgrade I've made. So the front axle is 15x100, so the old mountain bike standard, not very in line with the latest shift in road bikes. That's probably a single feature that isn't. So in order to change that, well, to be honest, I wanted for this bike to have a wheel set that's compatible with my bike as well. In case I need some extra cyclocross wheels or just something weird happens. So I wanted to be compatible, and Zips disc brake wheels all come with all kinds of adapters. So these are the Course 30 tubeless disc model, setup tubeless, which will be 30mm G1 tires, although it was a bit of a handful to set up, and I didn't plan it to be this way, but more on that in a separate video. The main point is that they come with adapters for quick releases, 15x100, 100x12, and same for the back, all kinds of combinations. So with an easy swap of the end caps, I can just put that in my bike in case I need it. What I needed to change was the rotor size. So my bike runs 160/140. This came with 140/140. So I've changed this little adapter, flat mount to post mount for 160 front. So this is now a 160mm rounded rotor. It's a good thing to have when riding in a bunch. So this is the first thing I've changed. One complaint she did have was the tires. So the bike originally came with 25mm tires. She's almost 50 years old now, not very confident on the bike, so the more tire I can get in this bike, the better. So in the end, 30mm tubeless tires, very tough, no need to worry about punctures, so that's another good thing. Then what was quite annoying for me was that the bike came basically with uncut brake hoses, and the whole cockpit area was kind of messy. So I trimmed all the brake lines to be nice. I shrink wrapped them together with the Di2 cables. So I think you'll agree this is a pretty neat setup now, much better than it was before. As for the bar tape, probably all stock bikes come with some crappy cork tape. I've changed that to some nice UZ-Skins tape. Also put on a Wahoo Altron mount for the Wahoo computer. And there's also a big change in the drivetrain. So previously this was a compact up front with an Di2 front mech held on with a band-on clamp. Not a very neat solution, and particularly because the little Chinese dudes designing this frame didn't think about the possibility of fitting a water bottle. So with the compact setup, the band clamp goes right here, so it's quite awkward to fit a second bottle cage, although not very necessary because, well, she doesn't go on very long rides. So the chainring I've installed instead is a 40-tooth Garbaruk chainring. The reason I chose this one is because it has the same style of mounting as the original one, so you don't need any spacers. You don't need any, one of these covers here with a thread in it, so it fits just like a standard stock Shimano item. Has a very tall teeth, narrow wide design, so good for chain retention. As for the rear mech, I've changed that from a short gauge Ultegra 6870 to an XT M9000 Di2. This is to get a clutch mech. I could have gotten the new Ultegra RX, but this was on sale, so I decided to go for this one. It works perfectly. Now Shimano say that it isn't compatible with the road shifters, and that's true. If you still have the front mech on, it won't shift at all. I've tried that. However, if you use it as a 1x, it works perfectly. Another thing I've done with 1x, so previously with 2x, the problem was that, she's not a very technically inclined person, so getting her head around the fact that, she has 2 chainrings and 11 gears at the back, for a novice or an amateur rider it can be a bit of a daunting task. So I wanted to simplify the things, and I've reprogrammed the Di2 buttons so they work basically in the same way as an E-tab group set. So both of these buttons shift the rear mech outboard, so into harder gears, and both of these buttons shift the mech into easier gears. So it's extremely simple, nothing really needed to memorize or think about. One caveat in this particular setup is if you want to reprogram your buttons, you have to do that with the Ultegra mech still on, because if you put this one on, the system won't allow you to rewrite the settings here because, well, I don't know, it's just not compatible that way. But then if you plug the XT or the back, then it works just fine. Some minor adjustments were necessary, of course, but it was a quick setup. The cassette is an 1136 SRAM unit, which I had lying around. Now you might say that for road use, 4011 might be quite a short gear, which it is. I think it gives a top speed of around 50 km per hour, but I know for sure that my mother will probably never reach even 50 km per hour on a road bike, unless, well, I don't think she will ever do, so it's perfectly fine. Then again, 4036 is quite a good climbing gear, although not as low perhaps as it could be, but I'm pretty sure as well that she will never climb any big steep mountains. So for the terrain that we have here, this is going to be a very, very sweet setup. The Di2 system also has a receiver unit or a transmission unit which sends the data back to the Wahoo, so she knows which gear is she in. So that also simplifies the things. And basically this whole upgrade was about making the ride more comfortable, safer, no need to worry about punctures, more comfort in the handlebar area as well. Simplifying the front end, simplifying the shifting and the drivetrain. Also SPD pedals, double-sided for easy entry. So yeah, it's a very user-friendly beginner's bike, I would think, but still plenty of fast if you decide to go for it. So if you have someone who's new to road cycling, I think this setup or something similar would be a good starting point for them, because it really is just about confidence and simplicity and comfort in these first steps into road cycling. Another thing I would like to mention here is, well, some people commented on the fact that I always build up my bikes from the ground up as frame sets, and that can be sometimes time consuming and not very simple. But when working on this bike, I realized that it's not any better when we are working with a stock bike, because, well, you have to do double the work basically, because all this had to be torn down, you know, the brakes had to be bled, the hoses had to be cut, bar tape off, bar tape on. So if I were to start from a blank frame and then just put the components right away the way I want it, it saves money in the long run, and it saves some effort, although some frames, particularly the not super high-end or super boutique ones, aren't really available as frame sets. But if you have specific needs, you're definitely better off going custom. Okay, that's all about this bike. If you want to know more about my own bike builds and the bikes that I ride, so cyclocross, road, mountain bikes and time trial bikes, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe.